All right, people. Hopefully, you can all hear me. We're going to get straight to it because this is going to be a live stream review that we're doing both on the Lover of Tech channel and the Cut Down at the same time, where we are going to be taking a look at the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Yes, we're going to show you some stuff because at the end of the day, the embargo has finally lifted, so we can really showcase. But I'm not going to be by myself. I've actually got a guest with me, none other than the man over at 95 Googles, the wild man himself, Mr. Damien Wild. What is good, Dame? What is good? What is good? What is good? Let me unmute him. Hopefully, you guys can all hear him.
Yeah, it's good. It's been a long week, hasn't it? Waiting.
Mate.
Kind of give some opinions on what's happening with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. I know you've been itching to tell everyone, but
Mate.
yeah, I think it went well. I think it's gone well so far.
Mate. I think itching is a well understatement for the week we've had in terms of pretty much getting up there with what's been going on. So really happy to have you joining me, man. I appreciate you for coming through. Hopefully we don't run into much technicals and we have a smooth experience, but please let us know if there's any issues with audio. Okay, first thing people are saying is echo. Goddamn, I thought I got rid of the echo. Major audio echo. Don't know why it does this.
I'm just going to sit still and not say anything now. Let you fix the reverb.
I have a feeling. Oh, hold on. Share system audio. It always tends to happen when I do the screen share, so I don't know. Speak again, Dame. Can you hear me, Damien? Hello? Can you hear me, Damien? Nope. Nope, I don't think you can. It's so hard to know. But can you hear me now? Nope. Damien cannot hear me, I don't believe. Ooh, hold on. Yeah, me. Hold on.
I think you've muted me, Ben. If you, I
Strange.
It's gone really well.
Can you hear me now? No, still can't hear me. Apologies about this, guys. We just need to get the any echoes with the other camera on the top. Oh dear Lord. Top down camera. Okay, let me disable that. Do you guys still hear the echo? Damien, can you hear me? Let me send a message because I don't think you can hear me. Sorry about this, people. Just want to get this sorted. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No echo. Okay. Yeah. Or let Damien drop off and reconnect for a minute, people. Sorry, I thought we had the technicals done. Hold on a minute. Right, so we are going to I've got this set up for you so we can actually focus on actually fully showing you these phones from a top-down perspective where you can see the software as well. So hopefully you'll be able to see more stuff. Yep, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. See if Damien has rejoined. Yes, he has. Let me copy.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Bring him back in. See if Damien comes in, and hopefully we should be able to hear him. Yes, Dame, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes. Technical difficulties. This is brilliant.
Is it just... Oh, yeah, go on, Damien. Can you speak now?
Yeah, you should be able to hear me now.
What the hell is going on? Why can't I hear you? Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why there's an echo.
I think it might be a second camera input. It might be picking that up.
You reckon? Hold on.
Possibly.
Can you all still hear the echo? Oh, I think they still can. Ooh.
I'm gonna mute myself. I'll make it a bit easier.
I think it's from the screen share. Hold on. I'm gonna disable my screen share for a minute. Right, speak now. Say something now. Can you hear me? Oh, no. We might have to try Discord. We might have to try Discord. Ugh. Don't know why it's doing this, but we might have to try Discord. Can you hear me? Apologies about the technicals, people. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Damien? Dame? Can you hear me? Let's try Discord. We're going to try Discord, people. We're going to lock off this room. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now, Damien? Nope. Okay, let's try Discord. All right, people. Hold on, we're going to try Discord. Just going to put a placeholder there for now. Bear with us 1 minute. We'll be right back.
Go.
Boom.
Yeah, go.
All right, I think we should have the technicals fixed, people. Most important thing is to let us know if there's any echo. Please, 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 please let us know if there's any echo. There shouldn't be any echo. We're using Skype this time, and we should be good to go. We should be good to go. Wow, thank you all for being so patient. Really, really appreciate it. Sometimes it just gets like that with technicals, but hopefully we should be coming through nice and good now. It should be coming through nice and good.
I want to just state that it isn't my fault that none of this worked first time.
Yeah, it's not. This is the problem. This is the problem with me just trying to be too bougie and too fancy with just doing a basic live stream, which I just don't like doing things basic. That's a me problem, not a Damien problem. That's a me problem, people. Hopefully the cut down should be working as well. We're dual streaming. Let me just make sure that I've populated the chat into okay, where's the chat pop up? Because we want to make sure that we see the chat as well. Copy. So yeah, this is the unfortunate
I'm checking the chat every now and again anyway, so it's good.
This is the unfortunate bad habit I have of wanting things to look and feel a certain way. So we've got the chat, then you've got me and Damien all together. Yes, oh my days, embargo day, right? That word is been overly strung down. I won't take much time. I'll let Damien also introduce himself, and then we'll pretty much have a little chat and get into the grits of things. So yeah, Dame, thank you for joining. It's Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6 review day, and we're going to be doing a live review and probably do some live stuff with these handsets. But before we get there, man, I just wanted you to just introduce yourself to the audience that have not met you.
It's been a long time since I've been on your stream, isn't it? You'll have a brand new audience. So some of you probably don't know. Hopefully, some of you will know who I am. I work for 9to5 Google. I've made videos on YouTube since about 2014. I've got a lot of experience with Pixel devices. That's predominantly what we cover on my day job. But I'm excited to see what the Pixel 6 is like. We had some time on Thursday. We kind of met up in London, didn't we, for the first time in a while, and yeah, what I don't really know what else to say about myself, really, to be honest. It's a tech nerd like most people, so like tech nerd like most people, but yeah, it's interesting for people who are on the Android side of the fence today, because this feels like a long time coming. We've not really had a competitor, have we, to the dominance of like Samsung and to a lesser extent Huawei over the past few years. So yeah, it's a big day. It's been stressful. It feels like such a long time coming since the first previews earlier this summer.
Yeah,
and
no,
I feel like I'm staring into the camera too much.
No, you're not. You're all right, mate. It's just it's it has been an interesting one, right? It's been an interesting one, and I'll cut away to this just so you guys can see what Damien's talking about. So Damien is pretty much a resident writer and full video producer for 9to5 Google. Pretty much just been knocking it out since 2018, where we first linked up Mate 20 Pro. I remember Mate 20 Pro. So definitely go subscribe to 9to5 Google. Check out. I'll be honest with you, this is the home of everything and all things Android 12 and Pixel, especially Android 12. Damien dropped a basically 40-minute blind over video 5 days ago, pretty much going through every single function of Android 12. So you ain't gonna get a better comprehensive review of Android 12 since each flipping beta launch. That's the guy. So I'm well happy to have you on. We'll go with the chat.
We're mates as well, though. Just so people know, it's not like we're not mates as well.
Oh yeah, definitely a good friend. Couldn't ask for a better person to pretty much accompany me. And sorry, you missed my super chat. Thanks for the stream. Yes, I did. Apologies for missing your super chat. Consumer76, really appreciate all your super chats that you drop, man. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate it, man. Like, for all the new people that have joined, we are dual streaming here, not just on the Lover of Tech, but we are also streaming on the Cut Down as well. We'll try our best to keep an eye on the chat with the Cut Down. Hopefully everything's coming through. Before we go ahead, just to make sure that we've got the technicals fixed, please do let us know. Is the video and the audio especially not echoing and coming through clear? Please, whoever's in the comment section, please drop us in the chat and just let us know for all the stuff that's happening right now. Please let us know. We just want to make sure that we don't have any technicals, because once we get into the nitty grits and things, we are pretty much going all out, because as you can see, managed to get a top-down rig all set up here so you guys can properly see these devices in their full array, and also pretty much finally get into the nitty-gritty of the software so that you can get a bit closer. You can pretty much see these devices in full screen action. So yeah, more of that to come. But before we go ahead, we just really want to make sure that we're not rushing. We're taking time and really sound as well for you. It says, sounds good. Audio and video fine. Good. Audio and video good. Audio is good. Damien's a bit quiet. Okay, Damien, I'm going to turn the desktop audio up a little bit on you.
Cool. I don't want to deafen people anyway, so I'll get close to the mic. But
yeah, you're in the amber range, so you should be fine. You should be good. All good. Now video and audio is okay. A little delay. Frames look low. Okay. Own mind, and it should be reconnected. We should be reconnected right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't paid my internet bill, unfortunately. Cool. I think we should all be good. The frame's a bit choppy. Oh dear. Did I lose Damien? I should have you back.
Mate, we're having a great time.
Oh mate, not the best. We've got
144 people watching though, so that's good.
That fits the screen size. Then chop you down. You think we are in a better position now?
Put me full screen. I love it.
I think this might work. Yeah, this might work. Yeah, I think that works. We've got you here. And yeah, I think we're good. I would like to think. Let's go. Cool. No problem. So, first video I dropped today was camera comparison, which consisted of the Pixel 6 Pro and the Galaxy S21 Ultra, which I think is pretty much the only one out there, because everyone.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that to you, that I didn't see a single one online. Well, that's probably wrong, but I didn't see any that after I did a little bit of a search when everything dropped. But yeah, there's nobody else really doing it the same way that you're doing it, is there? So
I think everyone else decided to pick the iPhone as the competitor, which is kind of predicted that most people do that. I don't have access to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so that wasn't going to be the device of my choice anyway. I do have the iPhone 13 and also the Pixel 6. That will be the camera comparison for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday will be the camera comparison between both these. And I'm trying to do these because I don't think many people will do them, right? And Wednesday's one will just be a question for all of you to actually see how much are you getting in terms of, in the UK, £250 difference, or in the US, $300 difference. It's not just for the camera that you're paying extra for, right? It's for complete of other different things. But in relation to the camera, that price difference, does that warrant you? And I kind of just want to put a camera comparison out there and let people decide for themselves. Because I think the real trump card is this, the Pixel 6. You know, it isn't as cut down as how people are thinking it was going to be, and it's actually been quite ace in that sense. So be interesting to see basically how that turns out. They flip these. So yes, like you said, it's been a while. And I think what's made the whole situation feel a lot longer than it needs to is the pre-release hype that Google put us through. Let's put it that way. If we look at the few select people that they allowed to actually see the Pixel before it was officially unveiled, this was all the way back in August. I think it was literally like a couple of days before Samsung's Unpacked event. So we saw those kind of videos, and we've just been quite eager to kind of see how they look and how they turn out. And it's finally here, right? I've had it since the 14th. So it's been 11 days now since the original unboxing and all the stuff. And yeah, it's been quite an interesting experience. What you might actually even see us do is probably do some live benchmarks. Damon, I think we've got you squashed. Why is he gone squashed?
We're working, that's fine, that's all that matters.
It's weird. It's like it's squashed you. Not sure why it's done that. This is so weird. Okay, let me
I'd be interested to hear what people think. What do people want from the Pixel 6 series? Do they want the Pro, or do they want the smaller one? Do they want the I say small, it's still 6.4 inches, is it? 6.4? The screen?
Yeah.
Still a big phone. The normal Pixel 6 is still a big phone. I look like I'm looking through the door. I'm like, you're in there.
Weird. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know why it's done that. I have no idea why it's done that.
You've not changed anything, so I've not changed anything. That's strange.
No.
Hey, it's not a live stream without some technical difficulties.
I know, it's just so weird though. Weird. Hold on, let me re-add you back as an NDI source and see if that helps in any way. Fit to screen. It's not what I wanted. I wanted you to fit to screen. This is where you just gotta be patient. ASF.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to know what color have people chosen. I went for the black Pixel 6 Pro and the Seafoam Pixel 6. I think that I would have loved the Seafoam. The Seafoam Pixel 6 Pro would have been incredible. That would have been incredible.
Yeah. So what are the color combinations again in terms of the availability and stuff? Let's go to Google Store.
I cannot remember the color names, but to me it's champagne, silver, black. That's the Pro. Is it kind of coral Pixel 6? Sort of seafoam, which is Squidward color, black, and is that it? Is it three normal Pixel 6 devices?
Yeah, I think it's 3 different colors. Let me see if I can switch
I
to...
really should know this. The amount of Pixel 6 I've talked about for like 3 months. I should probably know this, but I literally cannot remember.
Yeah, let's see. So we got Pixel 6. We've got it on the browser. Don't know why it's so... We've gone so petite. Okay, so when you pre-order, it gives you... Okay, so the Pixel 6 standard comes in Stormy Black, Candle Coral, and Sort of Seafoam. So those are the 3 colors.
Yeah.
I do like the Sort of Seafoam, and I do wish that was actually on the Pixel 6 Pro.
Yeah, that wouldn't it? How good would that have been? Do you not think that would have been the color?
That would have been
the color. That would have been the one.
That would have been the one, because what we've got is Stormy Black, which is across both, Cloudy White, and a Sort of Sunny. I do like the Sort of Sunny. I think
David Imel's in the chat. All right, David, how are you doing? You good? I know you've had a big career change recently. Congrats.
Oh, Dave's in the chat.
He says the Yellow Pro looks best in person, or better in person. I probably agree with that. To me, it's champagne, but I think it does look really, really cool from what I have seen of it, what little I have seen of it.
Okay, so we've just switched to the top down quickly, just to get a bit of a Fuji autofocus. Not as good as Sony's, unfortunately, people. But this is literally the Cloudy White. This is the one I've got. I've got the Cloudy White with the Stormy Black Pixel 6, and you've got the Cloudy White Pixel 6 Pro. And it's just very interesting in terms of just how they look. I do like the Sort of Sunny, but I would have loved to see the seafoam color on the Pixel 6 Pro. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it, and I think I would have loved to have seen that on the Pixel 6 Pro. Boom, come back here. So that's kind of my take, and I do have to agree. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat. Really, really appreciate you all being patient to come through. Everyone else over at the cut down as well. Appreciate you all coming through. No echo, everything sounds great. That's what we love to see, and we're going to keep it that way. Now, what do we want to talk about first? Let's talk about the design and the finish, man. How have you found it when you got hands-on with it? Which one stood out to you the most in terms of the two?
I really like the 6. I think this is going to be a really, really big hot take, so everybody strap in. To me, the Pixel 6 is the S21 FE. It's the S21 FE, but the S21 FE that you should buy, because it's so similar to the S20 FE from last year, and obviously the S21 FE. Sorry, is that coming? Is it delayed? Nobody really knows for certain, bar a few people. But yeah, I just got really big Samsung vibes from that one. And then, don't get me wrong, the Pixel 6 Pro felt like a proper out and out flagship Pixel for the first time in a long time, since the first Pixel 1 probably. But yeah, I was really drawn to the 6. So I think tomorrow when that arrives in the post, my retail unit, I'll probably stick my SIM card in there, and got my screen protector ready. Screen protectors at the ready, to throw on that, and then see how we got on. But yeah, that's the one that kind of like really, really drew my attention. The matte side rails as well, just kind of like, it feels like that. I don't know. It just feels like that bridge between the. It's going to sound really strange. It feels like a bridge between the Pixel 2, the Pixel 4, and then this new thing. It's like the 3 and the 3 and the 5 have just been forgotten about completely, and that's how I feel about the Pixel 6 series in general. But the 6, yeah, hands down the 6, 599 quid with a pair of £350 headphones. You ain't getting a phone cheaper than that probably for the rest of the year, or next year maybe.
I vibe with that. So we've got a split view of the Pixel 6 and you. So pretty much looking at the Pixel 6, this is the one Damien is going for. So he is referring pretty much to the matte kind of tactile frame that they've gone for, which I think is quite a good look.
It feels good as well, doesn't it? It's like that grippiness. I mean, most people are going to put the phone in the case anyway, but sometimes, every so often, you want to rock a phone without a case, and you want that little bit of extra grip.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna go into it now because we can actually show the settings in here. What you've got with the Pixel 6, as you can see, is hopefully you can see it nice and clear. When you go pretty much into the display, you've got pretty much your adaptive brightness that you can change, your brightness that comes up, and just put this down. It's probably going to be easier. And what you've also got is ability to put on the adaptive brightness. Lock screen, you can pretty much show always on in terms of the always on display, which is here that you can toggle it on. Let me try and see if I can bring it closer. Yep, so you can all see. Top down and main camera. I think this one here, bang. So you can pretty much see as it goes. I'll just do the top down for now so you can all see it properly. And when you go back, you'll realize that it is a 1080p display, but it locks at 90 hertz. If we bring up the same for the Pixel 6 Pro, just put them side by side, just so you can just see where we're going in terms of how they both behave. Again, pretty much the same adaptive brightness, but what you do see is the fact that you've got 120 hertz right here. The interesting thing is there's no option to change the screen resolution down to 1080p.
See, that I feel like that would have been a real killer. That would have been just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm sure you're the same with the S21 Ultra, but then again, the S21 Ultra's battery can be really, really middling. Like, if you can put it down to full HD plus, the difference is it's barely noticeable, to be honest with you, in a day-to-day basis, like you just texting and calling and things like that. If you're gaming, yeah, I can maybe understand, and if you really, really like sharp text, but if you're getting an extra 2 hours of battery life, then full HD plus is going to be better 99 times out of 100 even, at least to me anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely agreed. I don't see why they couldn't just put a software update to just give that option to scale it down. Personally, I think they need to. Because that would just help. And I think with the adaptive battery, which if I can switch to it and find, I'm going to switch to the top down again, and we're going to look for the adaptive battery. So adaptive preferences, you've got two adaptive preferences, and that pretty much works for both. And as it states right here is the ability to, for me, the battery life has been really good. I think it's probably got the most comprehensive adaptive battery that I've seen on an Android phone without really killing RAM management. I know a lot in the past, like Huawei used to do that, but it seems to just manage it well. And you've got adaptive charging, and it's I think just having that extra option with the display being able to change, especially for the Pixel 6 Pro, down to 1080p, it's something that I would have just loved to have seen as as a nice addition to just kind of round up the experience, because to me it just made sense. You know, I think it feels
like one of those. It feels like one of those like box ticking things where it's like you could have it if you wanted, you know, the extra feature. I mean, obviously, Pixels are not the most out and out customizable of all Androids, but to have that extra option would be like another layer of customization that most people choose Android for. I don't think it's a complete and utter deal breaker, though.
Nah.
Obviously, it's not. Clearly, Google's very confident in the battery life as a result of not having that display option. But yeah, it just would have been nice. It feels like we're nitpicking, but it would have been nice to have the option to put it down to full HD plus. It'd be really interesting to see if other people in the chat are they going to keep? Would they prefer to have it at full HD plus or QHD plus? I feel like most people would probably edge towards full HD plus at 120 hertz anyway.
I'm gonna basically just line up these displays together and just showcase without adaptive brightness so that people can just see the brightness for themselves and make that judgment. So who do we have? We've got Inil. Shout out to Inil. What's good, Mr. Inil Tomlinson? What's good, bro? So Guan, just wanted to say keep smashing it with the great content. Also, the Pixel software looks smooth, and it is, bro. Thank you for the £5 super chat. Really appreciate you coming through. We're pretty much just gonna have a live review of the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. Drop your questions. The easiest way to get us to see is either super chat or at Lover of Tech or at the Cut Down, so we can actually see your questions, because or else it's just going to be very hard to see it. Shout out to all the viewers that are in here. You should probably have us for like a decent hour, maybe slightly over, depending on how we're feeling, how the topic goes. But it's not a deal breaker. And I've asked Google to pretty much clarify on the display brightness, and they will get back to me in terms of their official stats and the official numbers on what the maximum and sustained nits are. But let's be honest, we were out shooting, and it was broad daylight, very, very bright on those days, right? You know, and I don't know about you, maybe you did, but I didn't see it to be a struggle to see these displays.
No, if anything, we were turning the display down, weren't we, to kind of ensure that you could cover it on, you could actually film it properly.
Yep.
I mean, there's a few, that's not uncommon, but yeah, it was pretty good to see that the screen is actually was getting bright, because Pixels in the past just haven't really had necessarily the best screen brightness. The Pixel 5 was pretty good, and the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 4 were quite good, but the max brightness wasn't necessarily comparable to some of the best out there. I'm just thinking of the Pixel 4, which I have on my desk, oddly. I think that had a max brightness of about, was it 400 nits? Am I right in thinking that? Without checking it up. I think it was like 400 nits, which is not really very much, even though the screens are really well color calibrated. But it's just nice to see that the screen gets really bright and comparable to like the S21 Ultra, which you've got on screen at the minute. But it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference for usability outside. Obviously, we're in the UK, so it's usually grey and pissing it down most of the time anyway, so we don't need to worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, the having a nice maximum screen brightness is always a benefit. It's never a negative, really, because even if it is sapping the battery, you can just tune it down anyway. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Yeah. That has to be said. That absolutely has to be said. What I'm gonna do is come back to me and you while I sort out this one as well. That has to be said. So for me, I think in the real world use case of using it, maybe we'll get the stats that come back, and it might be a 1300 nit display peak brightness, maybe sustained at 900. But in the real world, when we've actually been outside and we've had broad brightness and we've got both of these phones alongside, for me, I've not noticed the display to, honestly, for me, those Pixel 6 Pro, just the display is probably amongst the best that you're going to find on a smartphone. It feels that way to me. It doesn't feel subpar in any way. It feels like, yo, this is a screen, you know, like, yeah. You know, so that's kind of my hot take in terms of just the display experience and how it's been. Now, point of question that has come, and it's something that I showcased it in my live stream yesterday. The bezels on a Pixel 6. What's your thoughts?
The normal 6?
Yep.
They don't bother. They really don't bother me. Bezels have never really bothered me that much, to be honest. Yeah, they're big, and the black border around the matte side rail, so it does make it look probably like the bezels are bigger than they probably should be. But I mean, it feels like a nitpick. But I can understand why people don't like bezels. But it is a flat display, so you're gonna have a bezel there. So you kind of gotta make a decision. Do I want complete edge to edge, or do I want a flat display that is it is nicer to use? There's no denying that. But again, it's all personal preference. My personal preference is the quality of the screen itself rather than the bezels. I'm not that bothered. I'm glad there's no actual display indent/notch. I prefer a punch hole to anything else. But yeah, what can you do really? There's not a great deal you can do about it. Just avoid it if you don't like the bezels.
I'm going to switch to a split view of myself and the top down on the left. Right. And the bezels are absolutely fine. Here's my hot take. Because they're using an OLED display, they're able to go uniform and even all around. I think what makes it look thicker is the outer frame being black because of the matte finish. That is it. And it's a flat display, so they don't have the effect of the waterfall making the bezels look thinner, because that's the effect of the waterfall display, as they call it, right? The flat display is it's really good. Honestly, it's really good. The bezels are not a problem. The display itself is a quality display. As you can see, the brightness is more than good enough or more than comparable. At least in the price range that it sits, it has got a 90 hertz display. So that's one thing that I take from it and say that they're doing more things right than wrong when it comes to the display.
I think as well though, you kind of have to look at the price that it's been sold at. The only other phone that's under £600 in the UK that has had smaller bezels and fully uniform bezels is the Pixel 5. And the Pixel 5 was a different body shape. It didn't have as good a camera you would hope in the grand scheme, with that 50 megapixel camera and all of the other benefits, bigger battery, faster charging, arguably a brighter screen. But yeah, you kind of have to take the rough with the smooth. You kind of have to make a decision between bezels versus price. And I think for what you get for the price, like you said, it's not really a big problem. I don't think it's necessarily a big problem. If people care that much about bezels, they'll go for a slightly older flagship. But yeah, it's a non-argument in some ways. But as well, I'm trying to be a fence sitter here. There's no right or wrong answer, I suppose.
I think everyone's wrong. I don't. As someone that I pride myself on making sure that I've got the best display experience, period, I don't see why people got caught up in it. I really don't. I'm not trying to act blind to it, right? I don't see the thickness of the bezels. I think the problem is the renders made it look bigger. But in real life, IRL, as they like to put it as a short acronym, right? I look at it and there's never a moment where I'm thinking, those are thick bezels. I had that thought with the iPhone XR and the iPhone 11. Why? Because they were using LCD displays. To me, Google knocked the display out of the park with these. These are the best displays I've seen in the Pixel, but because the brightness is lower. Do you get it? It's not, it's good, but there's a blue tint issue.
Yeah, it's a blue tint issue.
There's this, or there's no. It's just these displays are the best displays you're going to get on a smartphone, regardless of the price. Period. They knocked out the park. And for me, the hardest one I struggled to admit that they really knocked it out the park when it came to the display was definitely the Pixel 6 Pro. Because, you get to a point, you get used to the flat display and just the ease of it, especially for someone like myself that values, having a good typing experience amongst other different things. I've not capping. I'm surprised I've not suffered any accidental touches.
I mean, I've obviously had less than 24 hours with both devices, and I didn't see any when I was using it. So it's impressive. But then again, Samsung's quite good with the same kind of curvature of their screens.
Yeah,
they don't have any. You don't necessarily get phantom touches on Samsung devices, and the Pixel doesn't seem to suffer any. So yeah, I'm impressed with the displays. It's somewhere where they've kind of made a what seems like a big leap I didn't expect them to make such a big leap in the display side of things. I kind of expected everywhere else to be where the focuses were, and then this seems to have kind of like caught me off guard that it is a really good display.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And this is again where you've really just got to take it take it in perspective and really see it for what it is and what they've achieved, right? And I look at it and I just think, thank you for someone like me, like I said, that I really value a great display experience. Thank you, Google, for just making a solid display, no issues, no problem. Right? Like that one for me is up there. So looking at the display experience, that's pretty much what we have. One thing I would say that is an actual ace for me personally, which I don't believe I remember it being there, is the fact that in their developer options, there is an option to force 120 hertz at the same like all the time. I didn't realize that, but it's something that is I don't know if it's under system dev options. I'm literally just scrolling down so I can show you all. We're on the top down split view. Damien's on the split view. I'll go to myself for the top down and split view so you guys can see what
Ben's
I'm
giving
about.
away his personal details, guys. Don't watch. Nobody watch.
Where is it? Force peak refresh rate all the time. I'm only saying this, right, because I've noticed that how the S21 Ultra manages the refresh rate, when you pull down the notifications tab, it really slows down. I've not had any slowdown issues with how it ramps up the refresh rate, because you can also show the refresh rate as well. So I've just enabled it and it shows you the refresh rate that is at 120. So if I disable it now, you'll notice that it's toggling from 120 down to 60. If I play a video, you'll see it go down to 24 or 48 frames a second or hertz.
Yeah, that's the LTPO.
Absolutely. The LTPO coming into action. And the Pixel is so far some of the best I've seen so far on Android. But I just like the idea of the fact that I can just force it and it's just going to be there all the time. It's already giving me the warning. And the only reason why I went in here is that I was intrigued to find out if there was a dev option where maybe they stuck the screen resolution change in there.
Yeah.
I was just intrigued, and I just came across that.
I'm sure they could do it. I'm sure they could do it. It's not exactly like they can't do it. It's whether or not they want to, I guess. That's the only thing I can really think. I just want to answer a question as well. Someone's put in the chat.
Okay.
About the 50 megapixel sensor. It's a 50 megapixel sensor, but it uses pixel binning to produce a 12.5 megapixel image. So it is a 50 megapixel sensor for anyone who's actually stating incorrectly that it isn't. It is a 50 megapixel sensor. You can use the 50 megapixels with external camera apps. You can't with the Google camera 8.4, I think, ships on the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. So until Google, if they eventually do add a Pro mode, you can use 50 megapixels through third-party apps. Like, I'm guessing Filmic Pro does it and a few others like that.
It's good you've alluded to that, because I think a lot of people have been eager to see the camera UI and see how that looks like. We'll switch to the top down again. We're going to go into the camera UI. To my understanding, potentially, how can I put it? What's the best way to put it? I don't know whether, because there is a raw shooting option, so we're gonna go into advanced, and there is raw. I don't know. I need to check the press briefing, but I don't know if the 50 megapixel mode opens up when you shoot in raw as well. I don't know. I think I saw something like that in the briefing, but I need to just double check. But there is, as much as there is a lack of pro mode, you can shoot in RAW, put into a program like Lightroom, and just get all the all the detail for, like, exposure and highlight recovery and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You're the person to ask for that. I think, would it not cap out at 25 megapixels? Is that not the standard for most RAW images and cameras?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I just saw in the briefing. But I need to double check if that also enables the 50 megapixels to come. What I'll look through the emails and double check, because I do vividly remember it being okay. I'm just gonna open it up and just double check. 1 2 1 2 1 2, just double check in. 1 10 things to know. Okay. User interface. Boom, 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 boom. Where's the camera? Motion mode, face blur, real tone, HDR, speech. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Tech specs. I think it might fall under tech specs. I'm just looking through on the tech specs. Okay, so it says here, maximum resolution and field of view with raw image files setting turned on, settings turned off by default. See editing for more information. Okay, boom, 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 boom. I don't believe so. I'm going. I'll drop an email. That's actually just a fair thing to actually consider. I will drop an email to find out, but I think you might be right in terms of the fact that to enable the whole 50 megapixel mode, you might need a third party app that takes advantage of it. It doesn't seem to be dealt on a native level. And usually those modes are meant to be used in good lighting situation, because the size of the actual pixels become ridiculously much smaller.
Yeah, you just add so much noise.
Yeah. So only ever use those situations and those shooter modes in really, really good lighting situations.
Which is how often is that? That's so tough to even try. Surely.
Yeah. We'll go back to the top, and as you might have noticed, that I have been polishing these like I work at a jewelry shop, right? I've been polishing these like crazy. And Damien already knows where I'm going to allude to, because yes, this is what you should do with an investment as expensive plus good value as what the pixels are bringing. Slap a case on it. Right? That's what you should do. That's what any sensible person should do. And I actually probably have to say the official Google cases might be the best cases to actually get for the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6, because they don't hide the design identity of what they've been able to create. The reason why I say that is that someone commented that with the case on, when I did the videos for them, it looks like the Galaxy S10 when they had the horizontal.
Yes. No, yeah, I can see that.
And I couldn't unsee that, and that made me upset, because I really think this look is the spiritual successor of the phone that we really loved and we talked about, the Nexus 6P. And this really shows the design identity, which I think is Google knocked the design identity out of the park. I just have a problem with glossy finish, and it's just, I find it weird because they had a matte finish predominantly from the Pixel 2 XL.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for them to go to glossy for some reason. Maybe it's cheaper. I mean, it is Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and the back, so maybe that's why. Because you can't get matte Gorilla Glass, it wouldn't make sense, would it? It'd just be frosted glass.
Whoa. This is with the Galaxy S21 Ultra. That is Gorilla Glass Victus at the back, and it's frosted.
It? Okay, I didn't realize. Realize.
You see, so it's again, we want to put this out there that it's not a deal breaker. We are not saying because of the finish it's a deal breaker, right? Because the handling, the fact that, as you can see, unlike many other phones, it doesn't rock, right? That's the nice thing about it. Case or no case, it doesn't rock. Even my Galaxy S21 Ultra rocks and it has a case, right? You don't get that here. So it's great. It's a nice little convenience. It's well balanced. It just ruins it a little bit for me personally, right? And I think the lighter colors hide it better because unfortunately the stormy black, you know, I've got a slight kind of permanent smudge here. And the smudges and the fingerprints just, you know, really just look more pronounced, unfortunately. So I don't know about you, but just experiencing just how nice the matte finishes have progressed from all the top Pro phones, from the OnePlus 9 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone 13 Pro, even all the way down to like your Galaxy S21 Plus, the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Oppo have done the same with their Find X3.
Wait, the Find X3 is glossy.
Is it glossy?
Yeah, you saw it the other day.
Oh yeah, it is glossy.
It's the one that's like a mirror finish.
Yeah, it is glossy.
Image screen off the back. It's glossy, so
yeah, it is glossy.
You don't want that.
Yeah, we you know. So all I'm saying for Google is that the finishes. Now, another thing I got called out on, which I completely did not realize, is the button arrangements. It seems like this is prevalent on all Pixel devices where it's on the right side, which is not a problem, but it's reversed in my mind. The power button's at the top, the volume rocker is at the bottom. Is that the case with other Pixel devices? Because I could not remember.
That's always been. I'm pretty sure that's always been the case. I'm just trying to remember. I've got the 5.4. My other one's somewhere else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is volume rocker, power button above it. What I'm disappointed about the most was when the first thing I picked up on was it didn't have a colourful power button, and that is one of the like trademark things that I love about the Pixel phone. Like obviously the red one on the Pixel 4. I know it's a silvery one on the Pixel 5, and then there's like different coloured one. I think that's really, really good. And I wish they'd have kind of kept that. It's like a signature thing, but they've just decided to just go for mainstream, which I can kind of understand. The design is quite it stands out quite a bit, but it's also quite mainstream.
I at least think if they were gonna actually make the Pixel 6 the more kind of colorful appeal one, they should have at least done it on that one.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think the matte rail would have added a good color contrast if at least the power button had it. Maybe I guess you know how sometimes now the Pro models aren't really there to be given the fancy look. I think they should have at least given that full colorful fun appeal to the Pixel 6. So this is where, when we're reviewing these things, we say these things not to say that this makes the phones a deal breaker, but the phones are just so good that we have to get to the finer details of the little things. That's how my mind goes, right? It's just the finer details and the little things and how they go. And I think these little touches on top of Google's very quirky way of naming their colors is their identity. It's part of the Pixel identity. And it's almost like, why are you not keeping that there? Because that's what added the fun, you know? Like Trenton, one of the other guys in America, basically he's got the Pixel. And I love the fact that he said that Stormy Black should have been called Shady Grey. And I was thinking, Shady Grey just sounds so cool. That makes so much sense.
I mean, they just spelt it wrong, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
they spell it with an A instead of an E. Yeah.
Always spell it wrong. But it made me realize that the Stormy Black is more of like a kind of just a weird grey color, right? You know? So I agree with you. That's something I would have personally have loved to have seen.
So there's some people making some bold claims in chat about the colors of the Pixels. So I'm going to have to put some points. So Pixel 4a has a mint colored power button.
Yeah.
Pixel 5 has a slightly. It's probably not autofocusing properly, but that's got like on the sort of sage is like a metallic green. The Pixel 4 XL has like orange. The Pixel 2 X, like the 2 XL orange. The Pixel 2 XL, the Panda, everyone's favorite.
Yep.
Get out of the bloody case. That has a orange power button.
Orange, yep. The
Which
Panda.
this is the everyone knows this is the iconic.
Yeah.
The Nexus 6P, that doesn't have anything. The original Pixel, that was silver but with a texture, like a textured power button.
Yep.
The Pixel 3, that had the white one had a mint, and I'm pretty sure they had colourful power buttons for the rest of them, apart from the black model. This is the white one, and I think the Pixel 3A is the final one. The black one doesn't, but the other ones had colourful power buttons. So the white one definitely had a slightly light orange one. But yeah, that's cleared that up. So Google needs to reinstate the colourful power buttons, because that doesn't cut it, does it? A plain black power button. It's just like you said, the style identity. It gives it like a little bit of a difference. So I'm putting the absolute ton of phones away.
No, it's cool. It's cool. We've got you on the split. You're on the right. We've got the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro on the top down. And you are not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong in that respect. And I'm looking at these devices as well. Again, like I said, I'm still not used to the button placements. My preference is the volume rocker because it lands so perfectly on the thumb. I'm always eager to want to double press to unlock the camera. So I would have loved it to be symmetrical on the other side. Not saying it's bad button placement, it's just I'm just not used to it. But then what's interesting is my index finger always sits so nicely underneath the camera visor or the camera bar. And I'm so glad I wasn't the only one that noticed this. And I noticed this on day one when I was handling it. And I was thinking, I don't know whether this is an intentional design decision or it was a byproduct of just the camera bar. But for me, I'm thinking that's kind of genius in a way. And if it's genius by accident, I'll take it because it helps the phone feel more supported when your pinky just slides off and you want to extend up to unlock, use the power button to launch the camera, which is great. So that's a nice thing about it, where I think cases like what you have here with the Caseology, as great as the case is, I love the texture on it, I think it hides that a bit. So it's a great case, but I just think it hides all those unique quirks of the Pixel. So I think Google probably leaned into that with the official cases, because the official cases, we didn't get them in the UK, but the US guys got them with their Pixels. They look sick. I like them. Like, they look really good. Oh, we've lost your volume. Are you muted? Oh, you've
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry, I was putting a lot of phones away, making a lot of noise. Yeah, the cases on the store, there wasn't many of them available. They're already sold out, and the wait time was incredible. Like, I think middle of November for some of the special edition ones. So I'll probably hold out, and then I'll buy the cases at some point in the future. Hopefully Google UK will pull the finger out and maybe send them out. But until then, I'm just going to use the I think it's like a slightly clear frost type color one. I can't remember which one I've ordered, to be honest. But yeah, someone's just asking about the haptics on the 6 Pro and the 6 versus previous Pixels. What I would say is, I know you've got some input on this. I would say that the haptics are, I'm going to be controversial. I don't think they're as good as the Pixel 4 XL. I think the Pixel 4 XL had the best haptics on a Pixel to date. But the biggest problem with that is that the Pixel 6 being smaller should in theory have a smaller haptic engine inside, so it might not have as good haptic. And I cannot remember what it was like on the Pixel 6, but the Pro felt a little bit rumbly at the higher levels. When we were messing around with that, it felt like if you had it at the maximum, it felt really started to get a bit hollow. And I wonder if that's just the makeup of the phone itself. You
just finished on exactly what I suspect. I think haptics is a weird science to get right? And credit to Apple. We don't give them enough credit for certain things.
Oh no, their haptics are phenomenal. They're the best bar none. Yeah.
They nailed haptics since the iPhone 6s when they did 3D Touch. From then, wow. Did we even realize we needed good haptics for a phone to be that much more enjoyable than you thought, right? It's a weird science, and I think it's something to do with a mix of the foam makeup, the materials, and the curved edges. I feel like the frame being slightly thinner affects it in terms of how solid it feels. Because my take was that I had to turn the haptics down halfway for everything, notifications, touch feedback, and then it felt crisp. Whereas the Pixel 6 at maximum felt good as it is. They are not the absolute best haptics I've experienced personally on Android. Forget iPhones, because I feel like iPhones have just nailed it.
It's not fair. It's not a fair comparison, is it?
Really isn't.
It's like comparing an F1 car to a road car. It's not the same in terms of the haptics.
Yeah.
Everything else you can compare, but the haptics is not. It literally isn't fair.
It really is. I don't know who. I don't know whether they just put some development team there that focus purely on haptics, but all the way from their MacBook laptops when they went with the magnetic force feedback, all the way into the Taptic engine. They are the best. Let's just give them that and let them sit on their own as the best at doing that, right? But if we come to Android, yes, they do. I would recommend that if you do get the Pixel 6 Pro, turn the haptics down halfway for everything. Touch feedback, vibration, cool. And then it doesn't feel like it shakes the phone too much, because the haptics are strong, but I don't know if the phone makeup just can't handle and contain it quite well. You won't have that problem on the Pixel 6 personally. If you turn it up to max, it's fine. I think it hits just right. Maybe it hits maybe 10% below what I like to call just right, in my personal opinion. I've become a fan of just having good haptics more than I care to admit. Fortunately or unfortunately, because it's just something you don't see on a spec sheet in any way, right?
No, it's like the thing about haptics is, and I think a lot of people out there will think they probably won't know how to explain it, but it's an intangible.
Yes,
it's something you don't buy your phone for the haptics, but the haptics help make the phone what it is.
Yeah.
If you have them enabled, that's fair enough. I only have haptics on for keyboard interactions, and for me, obviously I do a lot of typing on my phone. That is the biggest interaction point that I have, bar the gestures. And I think that tapping on the screen and having that really forceful haptic feedback or kind of crisp. Here's my explanation while it's fresh in my mind. When you have haptics on an iPhone, it has an X and a Y positioning for when you tap, and it has what you call a Z. So think of it as like a graph. So or for Americans out there, it's a Z. So you have your vibration doesn't just come from an X and Y position on the screen. It doesn't just come from left and right and up and down. It comes from a depth. So basically, that's why I personally think that the haptic engine on the iPhone is so good. The only other company who does it close on the Android side of things is OnePlus, and that seems like they've tried to reverse engineer it.
Oh, I'm gonna pause you because someone dropped a massive flipping super chat in there. So we've got J Mill with the $50 US super chat. Keep making great content, man. We do this, putting up with all the technicals, streaming in 4K UHD with the best audio quality on 2 channels at the same time. People always call me crazy for doing this, but Damien knows me. I cannot not do that. I know it sounds bad, right? I cannot not do that, because I just feel like the end value is really for you as our audience. It makes me happy as well. Call me a slight narcissist in terms of image quality, not a problem. I will take that. But it really is bringing that value to you. So when we see you all come in and really taking your time to drop super chats, drop your questions, this is what it's about. We had this discussion, and we're going to be doing a podcast show later on where we really get down to like the background of just how we feel when we're doing these type of things, content creation, doing YouTube, tech, and just doing it solo. We'll get into that. But honestly, big thank you for the $50 super chat. It does not go unnoticed. We really, really do appreciate it. Thank you for sticking it out. Thank you for being patient. We've ironed it out. We'll know next time to make sure we use Skype and get to, giving you a great experience straight away. But we'll come back to what me and Damon were basically saying, that intangibles are such an underrated thing. And because you can't see what manufacturer made haptics, like how you can see what manufacturer made the glass, i.e. Corning Gorilla Glass, or Qualcomm or Google with Tensor or this is that. It goes over everyone's head to realize how well. And I agree. I think OnePlus on the Android space really understood that. And I realized they understood that from the OnePlus 7 Pro. That's when I don't know if you remember it, but OnePlus 7 Pro for me really sold me on haptics.
That was the first time where there are definitely phones before it. I think the Pixel 2 had good haptics actually. But yeah, that's the first time where I think someone was outwardly marketing that they had good haptics. I'm sure you remember.
Yes, yes.
Do you remember all I can remember is the press review kit, which had like 2-3 pages dedicated to the haptics and how they made this huge, like, it wasn't Taptic engine, but it kind of was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel since then, it has been taken more seriously.
Yeah. And you're right.
I think I know someone's just mentioned in the chat that the Xiaomi phones, Xiaomi. I'm not 100% on the pronunciation, but there's a lot of Xiaomi phones that are really, really starting to push it. The Mi 11 Ultra is a good example. That's got good haptics. It doesn't quite stack up for me as good as the OnePlus 9 Pro. The OnePlus 9 Pro is I think it's the pinnacle, and then maybe a couple of Oppo phones after that. Obviously, they're the same company, so it stands to reason I'll have good haptics. But the Mi 11 Ultra, is it Mi 11 Ultra? Did I say Pro? Mi 11 Ultra is very good, but it's something that really does matter. It does matter. The intangibles like this do matter. Speaker quality, things like that. They're tangible benefits.
Yeah.
Haptics aren't necessarily a tangible benefit that it's gonna make the phone faster. It's just gonna make the phone nicer to use. And I think that's what I know that Tom's just put in the in the chat.
I just saw it.
That the iPhone it's those little intricate details that really start to add up. And I think Google's really starting to understand that. But it's taken them 6 phones to get there, to think about all these little tiny things in the hardware side of things. And my interpretation of Google is that they really want to do software. They want to do software brilliantly, and the stumbles in the way. They're a software company first. They're search software and all the products that they make in the web browser. The hardware side of things is hard, and they found that out over the course of the Pixel lifespan. And I say that as someone who's had them all, and I've used them all, and I do use Pixels on a daily basis for my main gig. And so I do feel well, kind of like I feel like I'm the kind of person who can say this, if that makes sense, without being a dick, basically.
Not at all.
I mean, I'm well versed enough to say it, if that makes sense.
No, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement because I always say there's that quote of know thyself, right? And I think we're privileged enough that when we hit back to back with so many different phones that we've either purchased or used ourselves, you start to learn what matters to you. And you start to learn how to pick up on just weird little things very quickly. And haptics was one of the things where I didn't realize how much I enjoyed the intricate details haptics add to a user experience. And I have to say, for Android, definitely OnePlus nailed it right. For the longest time, it was always Apple. It's just Apple, just whoa. And I think one thing that it added to that really matters to me more than anything, just because I'm just always replying on the go to any and everything for social typing experience. You don't realize how good haptics actually, funny enough, help you to be more accurate when you're typing, make you type faster, and actually then the fun aspect of enjoy typing, you then look forward to. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you've set up multiple phones because you're in the transitions of completing a review, starting a review on another phone, and you get the notification that pops up from Twitter or something. It's an instinct of there's a phone that you grab because you know I'm going to have a better time typing on there because the typing experience is faster, accurate, and the haptics are better. That's always a good sign.
Are you asking me if I have that, or is that just like a... No,
I've had that, but I wanted to know if you've ever had that instinct before.
Yeah. Oh, loads of times. Loads of times. The one I can think of, and I don't want to throw them under a bus because it was a good phone, apart from the haptics, was the Oppo Reno 6 Pro last year. Great phone, great screen, great design. Camera was pretty good. Color OS isn't even that bad anymore. It's quite slick and smooth.
Yeah.
As soon as you start typing, no, you don't want to use it. It's these kind of things. It's so weird that can put you off so much. I know that some people don't have any vibration-based feedback at all, but for me, when I'm typing, I don't know why it's an essential. Maybe it's because I use a mechanical keyboard, and that's
Maybe
I
was just about to say that.
Do you think that what it is? I'm not sure.
Bro, I'm not even fibbing. I was just about to say that because you know why? Another phone that I have to admit that I had that experience with was the Galaxy A52. It was so terrible.
Yeah. Great phone though. Great phone. Terrible haptics.
And the thing is, you know what was so sad? When I had to turn them off, do you know how depressing it felt typing without no haptics? I didn't realize how, it's like food with no taste. It just felt so bland. I'm like, I'm getting no feedback. I know it gets a bit sentimental, right? But it's like I'm getting no connection to this phone with no feedback. It just felt very distasteful using it. And I was like, I don't enjoy using this phone. I get no feedback. It just seems meh, And I didn't realize that, wow, that's now we're at that stage where you can fool us with good specs on paper, which it does really well, the A52, right? But in the intricate details of how I want to use the phone, how it feels, even plastic, especially with me experiencing a Pixel 4a with using quality plastics, a quality haptic feedback for a phone of its size and its price caliber. I'm like, this is rubbish. No, I just put it down. It's like I could not wait to just review it and just be like, yo, take this back. This is not it anymore. Like, we've actually come further than we think beyond just fool us with the specs on paper. Get this stuff right, So coming back to the top down, I would say this. As you can see with the top down for both phones, this is how I've lined up the haptics for the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro on the left. If you go maximum all the way for ring vibration, notification vibration, and touch vibration, maximum, you're not going to have a problem. But I personally do think that it's basically 4 settings. You've got none, 1, 2, and max for the Pixel 6 Pro. I think you go to setting 1 for all 3, then it feels much more crisp, much more manageable, and it doesn't rumble as much. And I just think it's just down to the makeup of the phone. The fact that it's using a curved frame, which is slightly slimmer, rather than a slightly thicker, more rounded, more traditional frame of the Pixel 6. So I think the Pixel 6 has an advantage there for a more consistent feel at maximum. And again, us reviewing it, we're just getting into the details. We can show you more than the home screen so you can see how the settings look like when you have it as well. Obviously, you can disable it all together. Please don't. These are still great haptics. You just have to fine tune it based on the models that you have. But that's my 2 cents on the haptics, and I'm glad you share that kind of same sentiment.
We have talked a lot about haptics. I can understand why people who don't care about haptics. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. But yeah, it's something that people will ask, and then enough about haptics now.
Cool. Specs and performance. And I'm going to load up Geekbench, and we are going to do something very interesting. We're going to do a live benchmark, right? Because I know people want to see it, and then that will open up the general conversation of what really matters when you see these benchmarks, right? We're going to go top down. You're going to see this. You're going to see a live benchmark of Google Tensor. Let me just zoom in a bit more so you all can see the details there. Okay. Cool. What we have here, these are how the clusters are broken up when you see it. And we're going to bring a Snapdragon device here, which is the Flip 3. Again, we're taking our time.
Is that 888?
Yep. I didn't I did realize, but I'd completely forgotten that the flip models and the foldables don't come with an Exynos
Exynos, no.
variant.
Mm.
Cool. We are also going to pull out an Exynos variant. Zoom out.
Mate, this is like being in Carphone Warehouse.
Man, you love to see it. You love to see it. Tell me who else is going to be doing this, and we are doing this live and direct. Geekbench 5, open up
You're
on all.
you're still gonna get accused of fudging the numbers.
Oh, mate, can't please everyone. Right, this is the variation that is best. Okay. And then one last one to really pull it together is going to be this one. Oh, okay. This one's probably going to ruin the party a bit. Zoom out even further. We've got an iPhone 13 ready to play with Geekbench as well. This is very interesting, and we're going to run them all in their place. I believe it's Vulkan. Use the Vulkan API. I might be wrong. Boom, 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 boom. Run benchmark. I'm going to run. Live benchmark, people. Geekbench 5 across the Exynos 2100, the Google Tensor, and also the Snapdragon 888, as well as the Apple A15 Bionic. Now, we just want to put this out there and say, honestly, Google are not fibbing, and I think everyone should be smart enough to know benchmarks do not defy the overall usability of what the phone brings in terms of performance. We just really need to get that across and let people realize and know that it's just not indicative, right? And I personally want to chime in first and say that the overall performance of the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro has been fantastic, not just for how good the first outing of Tensor is, but they were just smart to make sure that they didn't skimp out on things like RAM, right? They've been known to do that in the past before. They haven't done that. They've put 8 gigabytes of RAM, and not LPDDR4 or 4X. They've put LPDDR5, the latest generation of top quality RAM, and then you've got 12 gigabytes of that in the Pixel 6 Pro, and the fastest storage that you can get on an Android side for a smartphone, which is Universal Flash 3.1 UFS 3.1 storage. I think those things are a key element to all the other optimizations that you do get with Android 12, right? And as it's rounding up, as you're seeing it, we've got a split view of what you have with the chat on the right, Damien's at the top, benchmarks running at the bottom. You will realize that honestly, with how much people hail the Snapdragon 888, you will see for yourself that the difference is not there. Honestly, kid you not, it's on par. And I think Google made the right choice. If we're getting a bit technical, they put a 20-core version of the Mali GPU compared to the 14-core that you find on the Exynos. So it's actually very comparable to the Adreno 660 in terms of GPU raw performance when you're benchmarking it, right? Now, Apple has finished first, and the A15 Bionic is in a league of his own. Let's just put it out there, right? 1,735 for the single core, multi-core is 4,739. The thing's a beast. We just give Apple credit where they give. They're in the league of their own when it comes to that. The same as what we said with haptics, but it's just kind of to reference. Okay. So here we are. We're going to switch to the top down so you can all see it properly.
Have they all finished now?
Almost. Tensor's rounding up on both. And the Pixel 6 is pretty much rounding up. So you can pretty much see across, And if you can see there that the difference isn't really much there. Yes, there is a difference, right? You look at the multi-core, and like we said, hey, people, Apple are in the league of their own, right? Cool. But this performance in terms of raw benchmarking is more than comparable. This is not making an excuse for Google not having to do better, but I think what they've done is shifted things. How they've shifted things is this: in terms of how the clusters are broken up. If you see how the CPU is configured, they've gone for a 2-2-4. It's almost like a football formation, right? Whereas Samsung have gone for 1-3-4. So why probably Samsung benchmarks overall is because those 3 cores in the middle are more powerful. If you look at it, it says 2.81 gigahertz. We're doing this for you guys. It really does not make a difference in the long run, but we're going to just have this discussion to nip it in the bud once and for all, right? Google went a different way. Samsung went for a very super fast core that goes up to 2.9 gigahertz, then 3 middle cores that go up to 2.81 gigahertz, and then you've got 4 cores that go up to 2.221 gigahertz. If you look at what Google have done, they've gone for 2 cores that do 2.8 gigahertz. So that means roughly in terms of speed, as much as the middle cores. And then you've got the 2 middle cores that are 2.25 gigahertz. So you can see the drop. And then the 4 efficiency cores are below 2 gigahertz. But what they've done is then they've made sure that the compute performance, they've made it have more graphical power. And I think that's a perfect balance, especially if you're looking at the focus of what they have with ML technology, right? The machine learning and the AI and the image processing, which I have to say, I've thoroughly just enjoyed having a Pixel device that just processes image as quickly and as powerful as what we've always known to have with the visual core that got taken away. What do you think?
It's strange because it always feels as though with the Pixel phones, the strength isn't in the raw benchmarks. I mean, the benchmarks don't mean anything really. They do. They're great. They are a benchmark. That's the whole point of them. But I feel as though with the Pixel 6 series, I think we're only ever going to be disappointed with the benchmark scores because of the way, like you say, the way they've set up the chip itself is quite different from other chips out there. But like I said, the strength is in like the extras, like the visual core and the kind of things that you're going to do day to day on the Pixel device. And they now have their own chip. They can tailor make everything to their chip. So you would hope over time they will get more powerful with the with their own like tuning and software, like kind of shoehorning the software onto the chip itself. Not shoehorning. It's not like shoehorning onto a Qualcomm chip. I mean, I think some people care about this too much, and sure, care about what you buy and get the most powerful thing that you can possibly get that'll do what you want it to do with it. But if you don't care about the bleeding edge, it's going to be fine. I think the Pixel 5 proved that last year, but it sometimes did have slowdowns. There is no slowdowns that I could see at all on the Pixel 6 Pro. It seemed to be absolutely fine, as good as anything I've used on the iPhone, anything I've used on the S21 Ultra, anything I've used on the OnePlus 9 Pro, the Mi 11 Ultra. There was no, I didn't think, oh, I can't, it doesn't feel as fast. It felt just fine. It felt fine, which I suppose is all that matters, isn't it? It's just fine.
And I have to agree. We've got you on the split view showing the benchmark score for the Pixel 6, which is indicative and representative of the Pixel 6 Pro and just the formation, right? So we're just putting out there why the benchmarks look the way they look, right? That does not mean these are not powerful enough. It's just Google's decision making of how they split their formation. You know, like I make fun of it, but it's almost like a football man. It's like these manufacturers are football managers in a sense of they look at their team, which is the processor, and think, how am I going to formate it based on what I want to do? That's what they've done, because there's a physical space that they want to occupy for certain things on there, right? There is an actual physical space that they work with. So they choose what will take up relevant space for what they want to use. And that's all it is. That's all it is. And where this is a good look for Google is that They're prioritizing where their strengths are. My take to Google is this: be like Apple in the sense that do not do a 180. Give yourself half a decade. It's not a 5-minute job. Apple didn't get to being the first 64-bit chip in a day, right? They took time to hone it, used so many other people's designs, referenced it. They were using imagination techs and Power VR GPUs until they got to a point where we've clocked it. We don't need you anymore. We've got our own GPUs. Their master plan has put themselves in a place where now look at what the 16 and 14-inch laptops are doing with the performance, to the point where I messaged you and I said, bro, I don't like to toot Apple's horn, but I can't believe I'm saying this here, but these laptops that they've brought is a genuine game changer for what I've always wanted from a creative laptop editing on the go. I can't believe it's them that have actually done it, but they've actually cracked the code. You know, Google can be that same person. I really think they can do it. And the telltale initial signs of what I'm seeing with Tensor, just using it with the pictures, being able to tout features like real tone. We're going to get to the camera, which for me, someone of my darker skin complexion, I'm so glad someone is actually making sense of how our skin comes out in pictures, for flip's sake. You know, that to me is such a much more tangible thing to brag about, because they've allowed space for the image processor to be that intelligent alongside the ML, rather than just going, oh, let's just put a 3 gigahertz single core that blows everything out the way.
What is that voice?
I have to do that just to take the mic, because it gets a bit annoying where people don't.
It does get bandied around. I get it.
Yeah.
It does get bandied around by people. I think the idea of the top tier processor, if I'm being honest, I tempered my expectations. I actually thought Tensor might. I hoped it wouldn't, and it has proven it isn't. I was concerned it might be a bust. I thought it might not be very good. And when the initial, in air quotes, leaked benchmarks came out, they were like, oh, it'll be around the Snapdragon 870 in benchmarking. I thought, that's pretty good. That's a good attempt for a first chip that has been co-produced and co-developed, because that's a really good starting point, because the 870 is fine. I'm sure most people could use the 870 and be absolutely fine. It's a good chip. You're getting what is effectively flagship level performance without the associated price tag. So yeah, I feel as though we obsess on the Android side of things about benchmarks, whereas Apple don't, and Apple has the best chip. So yeah.
All we're saying this to drive home: if your performance was a big worry, please don't. Please see the bigger picture of why they chose to formate their system on a chip that way. Because honestly, I'm not saying it to seem like I'm promoting Google and downplaying what they are, but I kid you not, I think they made the right choice in terms of the formation, because for me, the tangible things that I'm seeing in terms of actual real world performance, you know, is much better, well executed now, to the point where I'm thinking, one, when they move to a new manufacturing process like 3 nanometers or 1 nanometers, one, when they actually put more energy into just raw feedback of user feedback throughout and seeing where they can tweak it, because having it in controlled situations is one thing, then taking it out there where people have real world experiences, living in different climates, different environments, and seeing all that data coming back, learning from it and re-implementing it, that's what gets me excited. You know, so Google, if you are hearing us and watching us, stick to it. Really stick to it.
I don't think they're going to be taking what we say as anything.
You never know.
I hope so. But yeah, there's it's a good starting point. That's the main thing.
It's a fantastic starting point.
Get that starting point. I'm so glad that they got it right first time. It's disappointing that it isn't the best chip on the market. It probably will be in some areas, processing of images and things like that, and all of the AI and machine learning benefits it's going to bring to the table, which is what Google really wants to lean into in the next 3 or 4 years to properly differentiate itself even more. But yeah, it's it's a really good starting point. People who were worried about it beforehand don't need to be worried.
Don't need to be.
And Tom's just asking if it's a Tensor chips made by Qualcomm or Samsung. It's technically made by Samsung. It's Google's own chip design. They've gone for Samsung for help, but yes, no Qualcomm. That's why Qualcomm are really like kind of backpedaling now. I'm sure they've been put on notice, haven't they, with the Tensor chip? That's the thing. They really wanted it to fail, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some level of going to be resentment now, because why would Google even bother putting a Qualcomm chip in the A series? They'll probably just wait a year, keep the 5A as the bottom level one, and then next year the 6A, probably put that on the Tensor.
I cannot wait to see that.
I've lost my head.
No, I know what you're saying. I cannot wait to see that. And this is where we need to still give credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe it's still thoroughly Google's thing, right? Because Samsung chose their formation for their processors, right? Top to bottom. Even the Exynos 1080 that is used in some of the Oppo phones and Vivo phones and whatnot, right? They've chosen their formation. Google chose their formation alongside other things that are fully custom theirs. So yes, getting them to help you through the process is no different than, like I said, Apple were using Imagination Tech's Power VR GPUs for years before they decided to finally announce that we are using our own GPU cores, right? So let's not make it seem like this approach from Google is lazy. And again, this is not me trying to make it seem more than what it is. This is nothing new in terms of approach. Apple did it for years, right? Qualcomm did it for years before they actually decided to make their own custom cores that they still mix with the ARM cores that are licensed off, right? This is a good look, people. So I just want to drive this away. Yes, I'm going to have specific benchmark videos, gaming videos, and all of that stuff just to have. I'm using this week as individual review week before I get to my full summer review, which will probably come next week or maybe the week after, right? I'm not in a rush. I really want to dial it in for me and also to bring it to you so you have a genuine library of everything is there in its specifics. But we're just putting out there, please do not worry about the performance. It is actually fantastic to the point where it's really, really good. It's really, really good. And the ace things like with the Pro, being able to force 120 hertz all the time, if you want to in dev options, to me has made it feel even smoother to the point where my Galaxy S21 Ultra is looking a bit suspect, and I'm not saying it to put it down. And that phone is not a slouch in its own right. So good luck, Google. Well done with your first outing for Tensor, and we want to see it more. I'm waiting to see that in the 6A. Can't wait for the 6A to have that, and can't wait for it to again move on to another manufacturing process and really build from there. Let's go into the chat. See if there's anything. Oh gosh. I've got so many different there we go. That's the one with me and you in the chat. Thank you all so much for tuning in into this live review of the Pixel 6 Pro versus the Pixel 6. We are pretty much walking through all the categories. We've talked about the overall handling, the design, the quirks, how we wish there were more quirks in a way, because we've just been so used to those quirks, which is weird. It doesn't make the phone any less of a good phone. It's just we missed those Google quirks from Pixel, right? That came in. We've fully established that the displays are excellent with no asterisks, as in they are excellent with no caveats, period, right? We've then established that in terms of the specs and the performance, even with the raw benchmarks, we've tried our best to compartmentalize and break it down of how these OEMs think when they're formatting their system on a chip and where their priorities are, and why Google's one, how they've prioritized it, favors them, just like how Apple prioritizes theirs and just like how Samsung prioritizes theirs. So alongside everything else that they've done right this time around, and not skimping out on RAM like Google have done in the past with maybe having 6 or 4 gigs when it should have been more. They've not done that this time. They've given you the best storage. You're not going to have a problem there. Now it's time for the camera. This is the big boy. This is the big boy, because I think this is the real deciding factor of, do you go for the Pixel 6 Pro or the Pixel 6? And I'm going to let you start with this one, because you always drop an interesting one when we had this when we're having our Nando's.
Yes. Why is it always we talk about this kind of thing when we're having Nando's? It feels like Nando's is camera talk. We're weirdos. Extra hot always.
Oh, you know
when
it.
you go to Nando's, by the way, extra hot always. If you don't have extra hot, don't want to speak to you. So what we're talking about with the camera, for me, in terms of, I'm not going to talk about the performance or anything like that. I'm just going to say that the telephoto zoom lens is worth the price of admission alone. And what you have with the telephoto zoom lens is a level of flexibility that you're never going to get with a wide angle. It's just impossible to have that level of flexibility, because you're giving yourself, you're just giving yourself that ability to get a different view from your standing position. My personal take, and what Ben was alluding to, is when you watch people who take a picture, 99% of the time, this is all driven by Apple, is you'll pinch to zoom. You'll pinch to zoom in. And your normal people who don't know about tech, don't really care, their phone is a utility thing, you pinch to zoom in. And that is just how everyone has been taught it from the advent of touchscreen smartphone interfaces. So for me, most people won't pinch to zoom out because they don't know how to do it. A wide angle camera is nice to have, but the fact of the matter is a telephoto is always going to give you extra utility. You're a tourist, you go somewhere, you want to get a closer look at a building, you want to get a closer look at a celebrity, anything, sporting events, you want to get that close-up shot. And the telephoto zoom lens on the Pixel 6 Pro, for me, means that if you want the best camera experience, you're going to have to go with the 6 Pro regardless. The digital zoom, don't get me wrong, super res zoom on the 6, from what I've seen of it, is good. But it just pales in comparison to a dedicated telephoto periscope zoom lens. I want to hear what you think now.
Have said it better. The reason why I'm saying that is this: that again, I have a boy, and he's well into football. Twice a week minimum. You know, match days on Sunday, trainings on Tuesdays. You know, it's back to back minimum, right? And being on the sidelines, you need a dedicated zoom. I need it to get good pictures and good video. You just need it, right? Mm-hmm. And another thing I want to drive away is that I hate to admit this. I know people that have all these newer phones with ultra wides, and whenever I see them take pictures, they always step back. And I always have to remind them, you know, you do have a third camera that does that. Just press it so you don't have to step back. But they always seem to remember to pinch the zoom instinctively. Mm-hmm. You see, so that does not make the ultra wide useless. It does not. Because the ultra wide is useful because you cannot fake that focal length, like how you can do super res zoom, which simulates a zoom not being there, right? That's not to say. But you see, then you then realize that behavioral habits of how to capture moments, you see, it's all instinctive. And by instinct, the zoom benefits more. And by instinct, I've noticed the ones that have those periscope zoom cameras on their phones notice the benefit of it more because of how it transitions and it can still see that clarity. Mm-hmm. So I have to be on your side that I am on the admission of different compartmentalization of things.
So are you on Team Telephoto now?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm Team Telephoto all day.
Oh, yeah.
8 days a week, twice on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
Team Telephoto, anyone who says ultra wide, I know 3 people who say ultra wide. One of them is Ryan Thomas Shaw. I'm calling you out. I'm going to drive down to Cornwall and I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Love that.
So ultra wide angle is just, I get what, understand. Yeah, you can't fake it, but with utility and people who are going to be buying your phone who don't really care and who are going to go and do things in a normal touristy style or a day-to-day style, telephoto is so much more beneficial it's just more beneficial. I don't really know what to say now.
No, I'm in agreement with you, and this is where in the UK you're looking at a £250 difference. In the US, it's a It's a $300 difference, right? And for me, it's a collective of things. Here's my collective so far before we get onto, it's going to transition into the next part. My collective is the dedicated zoom, the new 11.1 megapixel selfie camera, which not just shoots 4K, which I value good video quality, but you know, you're getting more detail with your selfie images, which I'm not an overly selfie person, but I do like banging a good selfie here and there. That's just me personally. Know thyself and all of that stuff, right? So knowing those two things, I value that within a camera. I noticed the extra clarity difference with 1440p. You won't really tell much of a difference between 90 to 120 hertz. That's just the honest truth. But I value the high refresh rate display. I value slightly having a bigger battery, and I value the supposed rating of 1% to 50% charge in 30 minutes compared to 1% to 30% charge in the same 30 minutes. You see, so all those things add up. Photos wise, I personally don't think as a collective, being biased to someone like me, where I was very apprehensive about real tone, yeah, I don't see a phone taking better pictures than the Pixel 6. Hands down, for me. You know, does it mean it's perfect? Does it miss on certain things? Of course it's going to. But overall, that's my phone for pictures, period.
You mean the Pro?
Yeah, the Pixel 6 in general, but especially the Pro, just because the selfie is just new, the focal length being wider when I want it to, the portrait mode, the skin tone accuracy, all of that stuff, right? And I thank you for putting the newer sensor, Google. You are now the dynamic range and shadow detail king. The phone's dynamic range and shadow detail without having any noise, it's unbelievable. Like, there were shots in my camera comparison where there were benches on the far left. You could not see it on the S21 Ultra, but you could see it clearly on the Pixel with no noise. And anyone that has any idea why I'm saying with no noises, whenever you shoot RAW and you go into photo editing and you ever bring up shadows, bringing up shadows is an invitation for a grainy image. You denoise it, the image becomes soft and smudgy. You don't get that on the Pixel, and they've just nailed it on point. You see, so that's my take. Video performance wise, they are a step and a half behind.
I did think the video was a little bit disappointing, but then I don't want to be overly critical on the video from my own perspective. From being kind of objective, it's not as good as Samsung. The downside is, because I use a dedicated camera and you use a dedicated camera, there are very few situations where, unless I'm really, really stuck, where I'll use my smartphone.
Yeah.
But that's a really privileged position to be in.
Yeah.
If I was out with friends and we're going out for drinks or we do anything like that, then yes, the video is absolutely fine. It's adequate. It's more than adequate, but it just isn't as good as the S21 Ultra, which is still the best for video that I've seen. And when I watched your video, it seemed to excel. I'm not 100% certain about the stabilization. I was unsure, but I would love to know what you think. Do you think the S21 Ultra is exponentially better in the video department than the Pixel, or just better?
Yeah, no. Exponentially. Okay. Here's why I say exponentially. I have my own gripes with the complete experience of video on the S21 Ultra, but it is exponentially better. You know, usually when you shoot 4K 60, you're meant to lose detail. Because obviously the shutter speed goes up, the frame rate goes up. You're just putting more processing on there. The 4K 60 detail on the selfie is better than a 4K 30 detail on the Pixel 6 Pro. That's already just a big win in that sense, right? It can shoot 4K 60 on all the camera sensors. And on top of that, what I like about Samsung, which they seem to still be the only OEM that does it, is the fact that you can switch from the main sensor to the back sensor without stopping recording. Most phones, even the iPhone, if you're shooting in a back camera, if you wanted to flip it to yourself, right, you have to pause recording and start again. Someone's going to ask me, why does that matter? I'm just going to put it to a real life situation. If I take my family out to Disney World or the zoo, right, and I'm not having my big camera with me, and I want to tell kind of like a family vlog of, hey guys, look at this, look at this, look at this. Capturing the moment, that's one less thing I need to worry about. If I see something, I'm just going to flip the camera, take it, come back, and we're talking. That's a very nice convenience. You see, so those little things that they've taken care of already make it better. Then on top of that, they're now doing video portrait mode in its own element. You see, you can debate how useful those features are. That's fine. We can have that discussion. But then even if we don't get there, the image quality, the dynamic range, the detail, the sharpness, the shooting modes, and just the overall experience, you can tell since the iPhone 10, Samsung and Apple have been battling this video battle to the point where they're like, okay, we don't know what else to do, but we're going to be pushing portrait mode for video now. You see, so it's not just a bit better. Yes, these are the best video capabilities that we've seen on the Pixel, hands down. But I just feel they are a generation and a half behind, and they can catch up. But I think they need, for that one to be considered, they need to really, really put their foot down, because with Apple doing things like ProRes, tapping into their own in-house codecs that no one else is going to touch, yeah, just like you said in your review, it's a tough one to say that.
I feel as though the computational videography aspect, that there's the long-term play.
Yeah.
The idea is Google has always had that, like, since the first Pixel, they had such a big lead in terms of their like computational photography prowess of the first Pixel, and they really hammered it home up until the Pixel 2, and then they kind of rested on the laurels a little bit.
Yeah.
Pixel 3 was good, but everyone else really started to catch up, but they did it via the hardware side of things. I would absolutely love it if they really, really went for it in the video side of things. And I suppose they're trying with that live HDR plus, because it does look really good.
Yeah, it does.
But it's just not quite. It's just not quite there with Samsung. It's not quite. Samsung have obviously had iPhone and Apple at the back, so they've had longer to tackle it.
Yeah.
Whereas Google will get there. It's
yeah.
But yeah.
Shout out to Zach Talks Pixel, Mr. Zach Talk Tech's alter ego channel, for the $5 Canadian super chat. Appreciate you, my man. It says, dude, your comparison against the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra was so in-depth. I love the work that you put in. And I really want to say this, right? I'm glad, one, I've upgraded my PC so it doesn't actually fight me when I'm doing these camera comparisons. So much easier to edit, which I'm so glad I've done that. I'm glad I enjoy making them. I've said this to you, Damien. I'm glad I actually enjoy making them enough, because they take a lot of work. They read. And even with how I've done it, I promise you, my way of doing it is not the best way of doing it. I wish I had someone helping me to take the shots. I have to do it all myself, repetition, timers. It's just painful. But in the end, I kind of like to leave it out there for people to see that, hey, I tried my best not to cut any corners. I could have made it shorter easily. I know how to do that. But at the same time, I think it deserved that kind of a slower pace, not trying to be fancy, and really just get out there for people to see what is my priority. You know, it's got chapters, go to where you need to watch and go. And I'm glad you appreciate that, Zach. And hopefully it gets the traction that it deserves. I still think I'm the only person that decided to choose the Galaxy S21 Ultra as the battle. Most people went iPhone route, which made sense. And hopefully you all can see how it performs in that sense. And I'm going to switch to the top down and pretty much kind of show a bit of the camera UI and the editing tools and the editing suite. And just do
Go on.
Add.
There's a comment from Rock211.
Nice.
They're saying that we're putting him off the Pixel 6 Pro. Do not be put off by the Pixel 6 Pro. If you have paid £900 in the UK, and obviously the headphone deal as well, even discounting that, £900. No, it's 850, isn't it? Is it 850?
Yeah, £850.
£849 is it's the perfect price point. It's better than the most recent OnePlus devices, which is the only price competitor, unless you get an S21 Ultra on discount. And that's why Ben has compared the camera to the S21 Ultra, because anyone who's looking at Pixel now, February's S21 Ultra is the only phone that really in Android goes directly to it.
And you're having to spend an extra £300. And let me drive that away.
Yeah.
An extra £300. You have to really ask yourself, is that worth the money in myrrh for the differences that we're stating here? And that's one thing I clarified, that at the beginning of that camera comparison, it should really be compared to the S21 Plus, and even then, right, it's £100 cheaper than the S21 Plus. It has more RAM than the S21 Plus. S21 Plus only has 8 gig. You've got 12 gigs of RAM. You don't have quad high definition. You don't have the sharp display on the S21 Plus. They've taken that away. It's 1080p only. The refresh rate only goes down to 48 hertz, whereas the Pixel 6 Pro goes down to 10 hertz for even better battery management. You don't have the option to force it to 120 hertz all the time. You don't have as good a zoom. Remember, the S21 Plus has a fake zoom sensor. That is not a true optical sensor. It's a wide angle 64 megapixel sensor that they are cropping in and calling it hybrid zoom. You see? So don't take our critiques of doing a live review of the Pixel 6 Pro to put you off, because what we're trying to really drive home is learn to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is Google have gone and disrupted the industry, Android or iOS wise. They've made companies like, and I'm calling it out for my own personal reasons, they've made companies like OnePlus really look dead in the water now. I know it sounds harsh, but OnePlus look absolutely suspect to me right now with whatever they're doing, Hasselblad or no Hasselblad, just because of what Google have done, right? And what Google have now gone and done is they've caught companies out like Samsung, which if you're going to call me a fan of any company, it will be Samsung, hand on heart. I'm going to admit that. Not bringing out a Note, and then on top of that, not bringing out an S21 FE, which was really, really going to cause the Pixel 6 problems. Google have basically just opened it up and taken it. So if anything, you should be looking at these devices flipping, grinning edge to edge, deal or no deal with the Bose headphones or not, you know. So don't take these little things that we're picking out as a deal breaker. No, what we're saying is, Google, just do these things. The next generation one, people are going to be scared. You know, that's my personal opinion. That's why I'm putting it down.
Yep, agree. I think there's also the opportunity for more software updates for the camera. More camera features could eventually come. I think that, to be fair to Samsung, they do put a lot of effort into their camera, and they do a lot of software updates every so often. But Google can do, you would argue, a little bit more, because they're more tuning the hardware for the software. It's difficult. I know people are asking in the chat if there's going to be camera updates. There are camera updates, but we don't know what they have done just yet, if they've improved anything. It's too early to say. I think 8.4 has just dropped, I think, but I'm not sure.
I love what you said, Dane. Here's why I love what you said. Do you know what I think? I think they didn't have time to test and tune certain features. Because I don't think it's a processing limitation for certain things not being there, right? I just think that some things come down to just not having enough time to test it and sign it off that it's good enough for it to be there. Here's why. This is just a wild card example for me. I don't see why a brand new selfie camera that is so good can do 1080p 60, but not 4K 60, but it can do 4K 30. You see, I think that's just a testing thing. I don't see it as a hardware and a processing limitation. That's just a perfect example of it right there, right?
Yeah, I think you probably are onto something there, because when there was leaked marketing materials, there was a few features that haven't been there, like software-based face unlock isn't there for some reason.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's a few. The Pixel Stand was advertised, and that's not available yet. So I'm sure the chip shortage has had an effect on certain things, because they were thinking, oh, we can do that later. We need to make sure that these areas are done properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's to be fair, it really, really is a solid attempt across the board, because the camera kind of got caught up on the Pixel 5. The Pixel 5 had a good camera, but personally, I prefer the Pixel 4 or XL's camera.
Yeah.
And that was still, that at the time, that was still the best for me anyway. The Pixel 5 was just okay. I preferred if I'm being honest, over the last year, the Mi 11 Ultra has been my favorite camera, even though it isn't the best. I just loved playing around with it. I just loved the zooming in 120 times, messing around with that. The video was okay, and the S21 Ultra was very good as well. But for anyone asking about future features, it's hard to say. Potentially. We got astrophotography time-lapse video early this year. We've had astrophotography added to older devices as well. The value in the Pixel is not necessarily when you buy it as well. A lot of people maybe don't necessarily do this. When you buy the Pixel, you're not essentially buying that phone at that point in time as well. You've got the feature drop system. The way they've done it is very good. It's very enticing if you're a regular user of Pixel phones, because you're not necessarily left behind like you would be with a lot of Xiaomi phones, with a lot of OnePlus phones. You sat waiting for updates. You sat waiting for features. That doesn't seem to happen as much with Google phones. But we'll probably see. I'm hoping we'll see Face Unlock, software-based Face Unlock on the Pixel 6 in the next few months. And then maybe a few more tweaks to the camera. Hopefully we'll get that 50 megapixel pure raw image. You'll have to test that. You'll have to test the raw to see if it is 50 megapixels.
As you were talking, I was doing a live demonstration of Magic Eraser, and wow, this thing is sick. This thing is sick. My goodness.
Have you not used it before?
Not to this extent.
Yeah, but it's not. I think you can get it on Samsung in the Gallery app.
Oh, who cares? I'll probably trust Google to do it better. Damn. Hold on a minute. I literally just erased like 2 clips. I don't know if anyone said. Let's reset this. Let's reset this. This is crazy. Let me see if we can zoom in.
Sorry. Someone said £849. How the hell can anyone justify walking around with that a device that heavy? Also, what's pounds? Pounds is too. So like.
Oh, it's Mark. Don't listen to Mark.
425 kilos.
Mark is just. Don't listen to Mark. Mark is just trolling. What's good, Mark Sequence? Mark is just a troll. Now, Mark's good people. He joined the stream last time. What's good, Mark? Thanks for joining. Let's okay. We're now at the camera section. This is one of the features that they were talking about. Magic Eraser. Ah, man, I think this is cool. What it does is it gives you suggestions. It gives you some suggestions. So we're gonna erase this clip. So let's just say erase all. So the suggestion basically took that clip away. So if you reset it, do you see it here? Tap to erase. When you press erase all, it just does it, and it looks, oh my, that looks so accurate as well. Look at that. So the cable there, we're gonna erase that. That's insane. That's actually insane. Hold on a minute.
Yeah. Oh, mate, you need to take a selfie and see if you can erase a person from the picture.
Mate, that
would be phenomenal, wouldn't it?
Mate, I'm down to try that. Look at that. Look, when you tap and hold.
Mate, we should have took a picture of Ram and erased him.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have done that.
Get Whiskeyzilla off the picture.
Mate, that is impressive. That is impressive.
Look, mate, how quick is that though?
That is impressive.
That's faster than Photoshop on a Ryzen 3900.
Mate, that is impressive. Oh,
try removing that glass. See if that lets you remove the glass.
Okay, let me zoom out.
Someone's just asked when recording video, can you flip between the front and back camera without stopping recording? You didn't actually say if you could or couldn't.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, let me cater to. This is what I Google. Okay, Google, you're onto something. Let me cater to the super chat. Big shout out to Scott Collinson. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Really, really appreciate you joining the stream. We're doing a live what do you call it, breakdown and review. When recording video, can you flip between the front and the back camera without stopping to recording? Unfortunately, you can't. And this is where we're saying that give credit where credit is due to Samsung, because they've been doing it so long. It's gone just beyond outright video quality. They've tightened up the little experiences that make a difference to using it. Google don't have that, but that's not a downside on Google. As much as we praise Apple for having the best video quality, they still miss the mark in terms of video shooting and capturing experience. They still don't allow you to flip from the rear to the front camera, regardless of what shooting mode you're in. Even if you're at the standard quality of 1080p 30 frames a second, you can switch between the wide, the ultra wide, and the zoom. You cannot flip to the selfie. You still have to press stop and then flip, right? So this is not something that is a miss from Google. This is just a nice little touch Samsung have that we have to give them credit for. Hopefully that answers your question, Scott. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And I'm going to go back to the top down because Damien called me out to flipping erase my glass away, and look at what the Pixel did. Look at what the Pixel did. You cannot tell me that's not scary good. You cannot. Bro.
I'm waiting for the stream to catch up so I can see it.
No, bro.
I'm a viewer, mate. I'm a viewer.
Bro, this is scary. Oh my goodness.
Disliking your stream.
That's actually scary. It's not perfect. You can see some smudges there, but this is crazy. This is crazy. The potential for this is crazy to the point where it can actually drop good suggestions to you. Right? Wow. I'm actually genuinely more blown away than I actually thought I would do. I'm not capping. Maybe I've just missed something and I'm in my own element for whatever reason. That was impressive.
At first glance, you wouldn't be able to tell, I don't think. If you just saw it quickly, yeah, if you zoom in, it's like anything, I suppose. If you zoom in, and you can get really accurate with it, I suppose. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool that these tools are available now.
Yeah, this is crazy good. This is crazy good. We're gonna go top down again. We're really putting all the effort in and putting the stops out here to make sure that you are getting the best live review walkthrough of the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. And one of the modes that you've got here is action pan and long exposure. So we would like to say that this falls under the fun category of using a camera if you remember to use it right, because action pan does say beta, long exposure does say beta, meaning that there's just going to be more work that's been done to it. One thing I love about the Google camera UI is the animations that explain to you what the features are about. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a nice touch, and I've seen it throughout the whole UI of Android 12 in general, right? And it's a really, really nice, good look in that sense. This is obviously to simulate long exposures and obviously light streaks and blur without needing it to. But these fall under more fun features. Next is obviously night sight. To me, Pixel is king of night photography, including astrophotography. If you haven't seen it on the camera comparison, definitely go check it. You've got motion, obviously portrait mode. Portrait mode works well. I would love to see, I wouldn't say better edge detection, maybe like a slightly less aggressive way to blur out the background. But again, you can edit that in post after you've taken it. So that's a good way to get about it. The ultra wide, would you class the ultra wide as ultra wide enough, Damien?
I can't remember. Possibly. It depends. How do you define? I think anything above about 103, 104 degrees is probably wide enough for most people, maybe. I don't really know. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough to answer. Once you get to a certain point, how's the software handling it? Is it going to flatten it in post, or is it going to kind of? Do you know what I mean? I still think
Yeah.
the best ultra wide on the market is genuinely on the Find X3 Pro,
Okay.
and it seemed to compare closely to that. It seemed to compare quite closely to that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. We
not
dig that.
not like within footsteps of it, but it was pretty close to the ultra wide from what I've seen.
Okay. We love to see it. We love to see. I'd love to see that in full action. I think because it's 114 degrees. With I think the highest I've seen is the Asus Zenfone is about 125 degrees. The Samsung and the iPhones are 120 degrees, and OnePlus is probably like around 116, 117 from what I remember. I don't know. I'm still yet to decide. All I know is that it's not as ultra wide as the Samsung and the iPhones. That was factually proven in the camera comparisons. Whether that translates to not being ultra wide enough, I'm still not decided yet. That's still up for debate, and that's inconclusive to me. I'll test it out when I go into London a bit more, where you have a lot more cityscapes.
Yeah, I was going to say it's perfect for architecture. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I'll make the judgment there. I think once I'm in more cityscapes, I can make the judgment to see when you're in those tight spots here. If you take a step back, you're going to get run over by a taxi and end up in the road. That's when your ultra wide comes in. Is it ultra wide enough? And I'll give feedback come my full review for that. But right now, that looks great. Video, we've pretty much broken down. Let me go top down again. Sorry, just doing a quick walkthrough of the camera UI. Then we're gonna go into Android 12. The summary from Damien himself, who will give us that. Slow motion.
Yeah,
and then you've got 4K 60. You've got the ability to pretty much shoot in advance, where you've got HShot 265 for smaller file sizes, which is great to see. We love to see it. Then you've got the selfie when we flip. You've got the speech enhancement, which is really good. It's really, really good in terms of just background suppression when you need it. I don't actually even think it needs it. I think it works in very extreme windy situations, but I like the audio pickup for the Pixel 6. I think it looks and works great. But speech enhancement pops up when you go into the selfie, just to put it out there to let you all know. But on the rear camera, you don't see it come up if you pull it down. And also on the selfie camera, as stated before, you do get 4K, but if you want smoother, you have to go to 1080p, and then the 60 frame option pops up, or you can go to 1080, or you can let it automatically do it, or you can go to 4K for the highest quality, and you can turn on the front facing flash using the display as well. Then pretty much very simple. You've got the Google lens, the photosphere, and the panoramic. Very, very simple and very straightforward camera UI. In terms of the features and what you have. No pro mode, no macro photography. Do you think macro photography is a big miss or just a slight miss for you, Damien? Just to wrap up the camera.
Literally do not care about macro mode whatsoever. Same. I think it's a waste of time.
Same.
To me, it's a waste of time. I think some people might like it, but yeah, no. It's just one of those things that I think a lot of camera setups on smartphones, they just add a macro just to add an extra fourth lens. We have 4 lenses. No, you don't. You have 3, and you have one that's barely usable.
Yep.
You might be able to do macro photography with the telephoto and the ultra wide anyway. I'm not sure if it works. You used to be able to, even with super res zoom on the Pixel 3, as far as I'm aware. Although that might be me confusing it with something else.
Transition. Hopefully that gives you enough of a roundup. Like I said, I've got 3 camera comparisons lined up ready for you this week. The next one is going live tomorrow, so watch out for it. But here we are. We'll do a quick summary because Damien is, to me, the king of Android 12. And like I've said, you want a full comprehensive review of Android 12. I kid you not. Get some popcorn, 40 minutes, sit down. He delves into it in depth, right? What we're pretty much just going to be giving you here is more of a general breakdown of the things to look for in Android 12. Let's just say the 5 things to you that you pitch to someone about what makes Android 12 Android 12.
For me, you want me to give 5 things?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are hardcore Pixel experience, the Pixel version of Android, might not like the fact that you can't customize the UI quite as much as you maybe would like. Like the introduction of Material U means that your wallpaper is the most important component of your entire theme. So your wallpaper, it'll pick the colors out, it'll choose the colors of your accenting. As Ben can see, he's going through the UI. It's all determined by what color his wallpaper is. So it's yellow. Your Gboard is the same colors. It's all determined by that. If that is something that you don't like, you're not going to like Material U. You're not going to like Android 11. The fact of the matter is, most people have preferred Oxygen OS over the Pixel version of Android and even Android 1, which is what Google doesn't like, because people are preferring what essentially is the same UI experience. So this is a way of differentiating fully. It looks completely different to what we've had previously in Android. It's still fast and smooth that you've come to expect, but there's just little tweaks that give it an identity that maybe didn't have before. And I quite like it. I didn't like it at first, but I've grown to like it now. When I go back to Android 11 on the Pixel 4a and other devices I've got running Android 11, it isn't quite as nice. It doesn't feel as good. The entire everything feels more cohesive now because of the way that they've accented everything. So you'll open up a Gmail, for instance, and Gmail will have the same sort of colors as the settings menu. It's all of these little things that add up and really do make it feel like Google's putting a lot of effort into creating this kind of like full integrated OS. And that's something that Apple has had for a much longer time. Samsung has its own brand identity with One UI. Oxygen OS basically just stole what the Pixel was seemingly known for. Color OS is doing it. That's what it is. It's like, it's one of those things. And then someone's just asked me to stop bulking and talk about concrete facts. Well, that's difficult to do, mate, because it's all about, it's your perception of it. The concrete facts are, it looks different. You have more features. They're the concrete facts. So I don't know what you're expecting from it. If you want me to delve into it more, I've done a full 40-minute video, mate. So I know all of the concrete facts about Android 12, probably more than anyone.
He does. He does.
So like, yeah, if he wants that, the settings menu's changed, so it's more one-handed usability. It looks like One UI. Is that all you want? Is that all you wanted from it? I don't get where you're going with that. So yeah, I'll continue where I was at, yeah? So yeah, it's all determined by color and hues, and it's made to be its own independent thing. Yeah, it's taken cues from One UI, but I think overall it's for the better for it, to be honest.
So just to let you all know that, listen, I kid you not, when it comes to Android 12, ain't nobody touching Damien. Facts, right? The receipts are there on 9 to 5 in every facet, to the point where anytime a beta version dropped, I just message him like, mate, how do you actually do it? Like, mate. And
it's a lot of going back through. You have to know everything about the phone, knowing every single little nuance. I know every single setting it's hard to pick off the top of your head, but I can see something straight away. But you need to these things get catalogued so much.
Yep.
That I know exactly what's going on and what isn't.
So when he's
there is a lot new here. This is the biggest update to Android. Believe me when I say this is the single biggest update to Android there has ever been. The last one I can think that's even remotely close is Marshmallow.
Yep. So guys, when I'm talking about collectively more than 2 million views collectively, right? So this is a summary. I'm even there thinking my review of Android 12, is it even worth having to do for my channel, right? Because I just don't do it. Because A hot take for me, right? I said this to you before, Dame. Like, I just find it boring. I know it sounds wrong. I know it's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers in what people value. I just find it boring, right? It does not interest me enough for me to go to that level of detail. Does it mean it doesn't matter to people? It does, of course. The traction and the interest is there. I'm just speaking for myself. Does not interest me nowhere near enough as the other things I put my time into, right? Which we're gonna round up with battery experience and my whole thoughts on it, and what I'm gonna be doing to showcase and what I value in that sense, right? But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. When you look at what Material U's done, I see the core of Android 12 as this as a summary. Material U, right? Like I was demonstrating with how you have it with the I'm just gonna switch to me. How you have it with how you've got the themed icons, how it affects the themed icons, how it affects, what do you call it, the different accents. You see the instantaneous change right there. When you go down, you can see that it's changed. How the animations kind of flow a lot better. There's a bounce. There's kind of like a jelly bounce. It's not a hard, it's a subtle thing, but you notice it, right? You scroll, there's a jelly bounce. You can see it right there. It's kind of like a springboard cushion kind of effect, right? The overall tightness of the fluidity. One, widgets for me, I noticed were different, stacked, much more refined, much cleaner looking. That's something that I noticed that really stood out well with Android 12. For me, another thing about Android 12 was obviously things like the privacy control, right? We say privacy, people, not privacy. Just the control it gives you for mic access. And my favorite, funny enough, is location. How you can go from...
the accurate and precise is good. Yeah, that's good.
I know it sounds weird. That is my favorite one. I was like, thank goodness. Because I hate things just tracking me exactly where I am. I just want to give you close proximity. Just stay far away from me. Speaking of ourselves, that's the one. That's a really good one in that sense.
I think the average person's going to love all of the extra bits. I think that your really big tech nerds maybe would be disappointed, but it's still there. It's all just under a new veneer.
Yeah.
With a few extra bits tacked on top. But yeah, the digital wellbeing tools are pretty cool as well, the new ones.
Absolutely. And for me, just the overall smoothness of it. And I'll add one more thing, right? This is the standout feature for me. How it adapts to learn how you use your phone, I kid you not, has made the battery experience absolutely fantastic. I mean, genuinely speaking, they've really nailed it. And I don't say that lightly, right? Here's why I'm saying that. You know, when we were recording, you were like, oh, mate, we're going to need to charge the phone. I did not charge the phone until the next day, and it was still fine. Kid you not. That's after how much screen on time were those phones on for, how much recording, how much we're using them, right? You remember you were saying, oh, you're going to need to charge this, but that's usually it. Did not charge it until the next day, and it was still fine. That's a big statement piece to just tightening Android 12 with the adaptive preferences that it uses for battery, let alone charging. So that's just a quick summary of Android 12. Go over to 9to5 Google, sit and watch it. I will have my own Android 12 video. It will probably be no more than 15 minutes because I just won't do it as justice. But with Damien's guidance, I'll get it well enough for you to enjoy. The only thing I'll add is I hate the toggle for Wi-Fi and data. I hate the fact that they're together.
I'm hearing a lot. Some people have the option of a Wi-Fi toggle and the new internet toggle, like as a bug. There's to be fair, there are a few persistent bugs in Android 12, which you would hope that they would have fixed by now. But I feel as though Google's just rushed to because it's such a big update. They've rushed to get to this point, to get it out. And there's some of the little quirks. They're a little bit unforgivable, to be honest, but they are there.
So I love that. That's a good quick summary, but we really say go to 9 to 5 for that. Last one is going to be battery and charging experience. And, I value that a lot. And Google got me excited for the fact that they've now moved up from 18 to 30 watt charging. But they've gone and followed the trend of not giving you a charger in a box. And poor me has had to go order one, because I like to see myself as someone that prolifically does charging test videos, because I highly value that in my life. What that does is, as a total cost of, if you're not getting the one with the cable, of £25 in the UK. Because there is no previous charger from the Google library of devices that have 30 watt charging. And this 30 watt charging is using a programmable power standard, PPS. Because I have got power delivery chargers that do 30 watts and above. I don't get the claimed charging speeds that they put out there.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep. I'm happy, but I'm equally not happy. I'm happy that potentially I might get less than an hour full charge to full capacity, or maybe slightly over an hour, which is going to make me absolutely happy, right? I don't like the fact that they've had to take it away now. I just wish they gave it to us now and took it away later. That's just my personal opinion, right? So I've ordered it, and that's just a word of warning. You have to. It's gonna be safer to order the Google official one until third-party manufacturers come out and specifically state they've programmed the PPS standard for power delivery to the pixels. Because just because it says 30 watts does not mean you're going to be getting the claimed speeds. And that's just been my personal experience in my first impressions all the way through to now. I got the notification, and I will tell you this: you will be seeing a charging test to see how it performs firsthand for myself.
Do you care that the charging speed is only 30 watts?
No, I think it's brilliant. I think 30 watts is the minimum for me to class it as fast charging. If you look at Samsung, they dropped the ball. It's 25 watts, which, I think for me it has to be 30 up to 50, top 65, then you're really in there. And that's what made me very impressed with Google, because they went even as far as the Generation 2 Pixel stand, having up to 23 watts on the Pixel 6 Pro, and up to 21 watts on the Pixel 6. And that's more than the 15 watts that we've seen on Samsung, that they class it as fast wireless charging, and Google, of all people, have upped that. So again, £69 when it comes. I will be ordering that, and I will be doing a video for you, because I'm intrigued. Even as someone that is not a wireless charging user, this is impressive stuff from Google. On top of that, they have actually been putting big batteries, legitimately big batteries, in these phones, with 5,003 milliamps on the 6 Pro and 4,614 on a Pixel 6. Dare I say it, these phones probably have the best battery life I've seen on Android, period.
See, I was really surprised, if I'm being honest. I was really surprised at that.
You see, that's my opinion based on my raw usage using it. I think these are the best battery lives I've seen on Android, and the only phone I've had that made me feel that way was the S21 Plus. And this is more impressive because that's a 1080p display. This is a QHD Plus display. And dare I say, the Pixel 6 is just chilling and just enjoying it. That's a very big confidence maker for me, to the point where, between me and you, if I wasn't stuck with the burden of One UI beta programs on this, and this having 2 physical nano SIMs, which is one thing I really appreciate, rather than depending on eSIM, dear God, this is out. No phone is giving me battery anxiety like the S21 Ultra. Absolutely shocking battery life. And I don't mince my words. I've been using it since April. This is absolutely shocking, and is more frustrating to the fact that the S21 Plus has excellent battery life. And, drop this. And this has come in and just stole the show. Pixel 6 Pro. Wow, 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 wow. So yeah, those are my 2 cents on it.
Yep. I can't disagree. It's strange having had many subpar pixels over the past few years.
There you go.
They kind of like tied everything up. They're kind of like, fair play to Google for taking it on the chin. As good as the software experience was, it just wasn't good enough in other areas. The Pixel 4, particularly.
Yep.
The Pixel 5 was fine, but you had to make a compromise whether you wanted performance or you wanted just the Pixel experience. And
yep.
yeah, it's good. It's good to see, because we need more competitors in the space. Definitely, we need more people, more manufacturers, pushing each other to keep them kind of on the straight and narrow. That's my opinion, anyway.
Wow, Dame, we've pretty much hit it all. I think we've for a live walkthrough, I don't think we could have pretty much hit it as much. Few miscellaneous bits with few questions that were flying in. There isn't any official support for Dolby Atmos from what we've been told. The dual speakers themselves are great. Not the absolute loudest, but they've got a good bass feeling to them. They've got the nicest bass feeling speakers on a phone. And for the type of music I listen to, that's a nice compliment when I'm using music on a loudspeaker. And I think that really just wraps up the Pixel experience. And I just want to nail this, and I said it in my impressions video. At £599 UK pounds, it is £80 cheaper than an iPhone 13 mini. And it should not even be compared to the iPhone 13 mini. It is £180 to $200 cheaper than an iPhone 13. The Pixel 6 has literally become the flagship killer we didn't know Google were going to actually make or needed to make. And then this, man, £849, £100 cheaper than the iPhone 13 Pro, £100 cheaper than an S21 Plus, £300 cheaper than a Galaxy S21 Ultra. There I say it, right? All the little things we've said is for them to improve next time, not a deal breaking out. I think, in my personal opinion, Google have knocked out the park. That's my conclusion.
Which is surprising. Because I'm sure some of you watching were worried about the dual embargo, and the dual embargo was worrying, because a dual embargo sometimes is a way for brands to kind of hide issues and try and push out a software fix before the general public release, because pre-orders are opened and people are pre-ordering blind without knowing what the phone is going to be. So realistically, it's good. I keep tapping my microphone. This is great for people who were worried about it.
And I'll add this to conclude. We've pretty much hit 3 hours, which is great.
Long.
I just think that was what was frustrating for me and us in there, that when we were using it, there was nothing that we could see that was a glaring miss, that we kept thinking, this is now just ruining it. It's like, I just can't wait to share it with you lot, for you guys could just see that the thing is finished. It's finished. It's working so good to the point where I just think Google's biggest mistake was just limiting us to only showing the home screen. And I said it even in a basic context, that when I'm saying that you can't change the screen from 1080p to QHD or back and forth, I don't want to just say it. I've got the camera. I want to show the B-roll to add a bit of context, right? And not just being able to show that makes it look so weird. Do you get it? So please, people, put it to rest. The phone is polished. The phone is finished. Google does feature drops month on month throughout the year within a life cycle. This phone will get more features and will get better, and it will tighten up even more. And with the promise of 5 years of security updates and 3 years of OS, I bet you on the bottom dollar, if they optimize it well, they might even add another year of OS updates if come that year, things really look well and it's held up. That is where the real value of this Pixel 6 series. And dare I say it, to me, personally, I think Google have knocked out the park. So that is probably the most comprehensive initial review day live stream review walkthrough of both the Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6. We've chosen a Pixel 6 Pro because we value telephoto above all. Let us know in the comment section below, what are you going to be choosing for what that we've walked through?
Mm-hmm. And if people have questions as well, you can find us on the socials. And if people want to see more content like this, then throw that in the comment section. I want to know what people want to know about. It's easy just to do a review, but it's more interesting to hear what people want to see and what to learn about these phones that they may be looking to pre-order.
Yeah,
because there's a long backlog.
For good reason.
People, it's a good reason. I think that people are really kind of captured by the Pixel 6, especially on Android, and OnePlus really dropping the ball this year.
Oh God,
with Color OS, I think there's going to annoy a lot of fans. So you're kind of looking at the new flagship killers, as Ben has said. I think that's a really good way of summarizing.
Not just OnePlus. As great as Samsung have been innovatively, the little things like not having an S21 FE and not having a Note this year has really jaded like a big fan base, big time. So yeah, Google, well done. Just listen to our little feedbacks for improvements next year, into the next. Push this, see this as a clean slate. Give yourself half a decade, and wow, are we excited to see what it will be. So that concludes it from us. And it's been fun. It's been interesting. Hope you've enjoyed the effort that we put into making sure that, although with the technicals at the beginning, it ironed out quickly. We know to use Skype going forward. Yeah. We're going to use Skype straightforward. Let us know if you enjoy the kind of top-down view with the mix of different things and doing a live demonstration. I love doing stuff like that. It makes it more fun, more enjoyable, but I think it adds a much better context for you guys to see it happening live with no editing. That adds a much more tangible thing. And I'm not making it up. Seeing me get excited at things like Magic Eraser, come on, man. That's cool. This is the power of what Tensor's bringing beyond the raw benchmarks that people are looking at, right? That's what it can do. Focus on those things, and I think you're going to be more than happy with what the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro are bringing to the table. That, people, is us. We're calling it a night. Damien, any last words from you?
You can find my socials and my own personal YouTube channel links in the description. Ben's going to put them in there. Pixel 5 in 2021 review coming up the next couple of weeks. So if you want to know how the Pixel 5's aged over the last 12 months, I've been using it as my main phone on and off. Yeah, check that out. I've got that in the pipeline. That's coming soon. Other than that, I'm mainly on Twitter and on 95 Google's YouTube and on the website. But
bang, 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 bang. Damien, I'm glad I've got you back. Looking forward to us doing more. Looking forward to us doing more stuff. It's been fun.
Yeah,
and
if people want to see this as a regular show on a separate channel or anything like that, then yeah, there are plans in order. But we want to work out how best to do it. But this is a taster of the things you can kind of expect. But yeah. Yep.
Thank you all for tuning in, man. The audience has been great. More than 300 people are here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us both on Lover of Tech as well as the Cut Down. Thank you, Damien, for accompanying me, and watch out for all the individual stuff that's going to be happening. It's review week on the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. Trust me, stay tuned, locked in. But for now, that will be us. We'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll see you. Peace, people.
Cheers, guys.